So we're recently invited to the Embassy of Georgia in Pretoria for a presentation by the ambassador on the recent arrest warrants issued against 3 Russian nationals by the ICC for their role in the 2008 invasion of Georgia. You'll remember that Georgia previously went to the European Court of Human Rights suing Russia for violations of human rights, and they won. Okay, let's try one more time and see if the sound will improve now that we've passed the generator. Okay, I'm making this episode because if you are perhaps looking at doing your master's thesis or a PhD thesis, the discussion I went to the other night might actually assist you there. So we're invited to the Georgian Embassy. That's the ambassador of Georgia to South Africa, His Excellency Ambassador Baker Diwali, to have a discussion around the recent arrest warrants issued by the ICC in respect of 3 Russian nationals for their role in the 2008 invasion of Georgia by Russia. Now you remember that Georgia had previously gone to the European Court of Human Rights, and whilst there they were suing Georgia was suing Russia for violation of human rights, and the court found in favor of Georgia. What has happened now is that the ICC has also issued arrest warrants against 3 Russian generals for their role in the war crimes and crimes against humanity that took place in Georgia in 2008. Where Georgians lost their lives, where Georgians are subjected to human rights abuses and other violations of international law. So it was just a brief discussion on how, Georgia actually utilized international law, first by using the European Court of Human Rights, and then later using the International Criminal Court to try and go against Russia for its role in the invasion. And of course, now that the arrest warrants are out, there are many interesting questions that can be posed around. So I'm just looking for where the breakfast is served here. Morning. Is breakfast served that side? Okay. Yeah, so many questions are being posed around the question of perhaps the enforcement of the arrest warrants and stuff like that. So this short discussion actually touches on that. I will not necessarily show the discussion or the presentation of the ambassador, but some of the briefings I had with my colleagues afterwards will sort of unpack the key issues that came out from that discussion. So that ICC case would actually make a very good basis for a master's thesis or a PhD thesis, or even a research paper if you're interested in researching and publishing a journal article out of that new development. It was not about Ukraine, it was about Georgia. These are 2 different situations. So I know that currently people are obsessed about Ukraine and Russia, but that's not what this was about. This was about the invasion of Georgia in 2008 by Russia, which went against international law, which has now culminated in criminal proceedings being started against those Russian generals. So yeah, have a listen and see if you can pick out something here which could help you start formulating a paper or start formulating a research proposal for your thesis, for your master's or for your PhD. Sharp.
I'm always collecting content.
Let's give a prize to you, like, hey.
Yeah, it's okay. Johnson, tell us about what was happening.
Sorry. No. It was just a debriefing of the recent application for the warrants for arrest for the 3 Russian nationals who were involved in the war crimes against Georgia. I mean, it's been a long time coming. And I think the main thing, what was interesting was how the ambassador said this is the first time outside of Africa that this whole warranting and actually going after using the court has been happening. So, I mean, we've been waiting for this the whole time because our argument has always been this out of proportion, utilization of the court's power. So I think it's about time we see more of these coming.
Yeah, more than... Oh, must I say something?
I'm just taking everybody's take about this.
No. I think, Prof, for me, I'd be more curious for a debrief where we sit and reflect on the inputs of the ambassador. I take some with a pinch of salt, but again, I think law becomes a limitation if it's the only tool that we put on the table to assess and analyze situations. But I think in terms of the learning and the context and better understanding of what's actually happening there and the different dynamics that are all involved, it was quite an empowering exercise, I think.
Okay.
No, definitely an empowering exercise indeed. I think the most important thing is to see, as SK also rightfully mentioned, to see the role of ICC in actually doing proper sanctions outside Africa so that it does not remain with this reputation that it only bites within the African continent. And I think also another issue in one of the questions that was raised, which is something which was also on my mind, is the question about to what extent exactly can ICC bite in terms of saying when you talk about the crime of common purpose and also the grave part of it is to say then, for example, can ICC actually go into Russia, whether it's through Interpol and other forces, and ensure that those who need to be brought before justice can do and answer for their transgressions. So that's also one of the most important things. So I think it's really important to see how things develop after this. So we'll keep watching everything with a keen eye. Thanks.
Interesting.
No, ours is very simple. From what we have learned today, we take it forward upon ourselves, like we did with the issue of Swaziland. We are going to write an article. We already know who must be held accountable for which crimes. So we're going to incorporate what we have learned today with what's happening in Ukraine, so that we're able to understand the international framework that must be taken from here going forward. We're just going to write an article, a very informative article, a very educating article that will be able to enhance the understanding of international law in terms of the student's perspective. So that's us.
Yeah, you know, what transpires to me is that most of the, what I can call the powerful state normally, they have disregard to the international law, especially take into consideration what transpired to the United Nations General Assembly when Russia was being booted out of the Human Rights Council due to the fact that no, they do not comply or maybe regard to what the statutes, the treaties that they have ratified, due to the fact that what's currently going on in Ukraine, you find that no, Russia is currently violating the Geneva Convention, which they ratified, and then they're busy shelling the civilians settlement and whatsoever, killing innocent civilian in such a case. So but we've learned a lot that no, international law at this time, it's not the a binding, what I can say, maybe binding stage to some of the this powerful nation, because they only ratify treaties that they are not even willing to follow. So but yes, I can say that yes, we learned a lot about especially what this what so-called the P5 countries, the P5 member state, which are the Security Council permanent member state, including the likes of Russia. So but now it has come to our conclusion that no, so state that they think that they've got power, they've got strong resources and whatsoever, strong equipment, so now they disregard international law. So and then they want this inferior state so that they want inferior state to comply with whatever any statute or any treaties, conventions that they've ratified. Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I hope this was helpful, and if it was, please do click the like button, and please forgive me for the noise. I think Eskom has load shed at this place, and they are therefore running a very huge generator because the big establishment, the big hotel resort sort of thing. So yeah, it was noisy as I passed by, but it was the only time I had to record, so please forgive me for that.